So hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 16 of our F1 Manager save here on the channel. Now, a couple of announcements before we get going this afternoon. And the first one is our first new driver signing. So we've kept Esteban Ocon, we've kept Pierre Gasly, as you can see on the screen. But this is more of the long-term goal of this save. And it is that Sophia Flosch, let me just get the email. Sophia Flosch is going to be joining us as our reserve driver, our development driver. We've signed her on a 4-year contract starting from next season. Sophia is someone who in real life I'm very impressed with. She's not making a big song and dance about everything. She's going about her work very, very well in her race series. And she is one who is being touted as a possible F1 driver in the future. And I reckon we can make that happen on this save. And it gives us a real long-term goal in the save as well. The other bit of information is Alpine is not going to be the main team sponsor next season, or the main team name, if you like. It could be going back to the Renault Works team, or there is talk about Andretti taking over the team as well. So we've got some developments happening in the background. We are going to Singapore this weekend, but before that, let's have a look at what happened in Monza. It wasn't the best week for Alpine in last week's videos. Esteban Ocon did get a point in the end. Pierre Gasly finishing in P17, so not ideal at all. And Max Verstappen won from Checo Perez. Standings wise, that means that at the moment on the constructors, Red Bull are leading by nearly 100 points. Now it looks pretty much done and dusted for Red Bull in the constructors. There's still a few races to go, but they are looking very prominent indeed. Williams are starting to put in some decent performances and starting to close the gap on us a little bit, but we still do have around a sort of 30-40 point buffer from Williams. Driver standings wise, Max Verstappen is on 331 points. That's 85 points ahead of Charles Leclerc. Checo Perez is in the mix too, as is Carlos Sainz. The top 5 are really close at this moment in time. Fernando Alonso especially, but Verstappen has got that gap. Ocon with that point goes ahead of Pierre Gasly in the driver's standings. So that's all that. Let's have a look at this weekend. We are going to Singapore and we are taking full engine penalties. So this is literally going to be a back to front type of race. Historic safety car chance is 100%. We're expecting rain for qualifying, but not on Sunday, which is a good thing. I'm excited for this race. 63 laps around here under the lights at the Marina Bay circuit. Expected strategy is a 2-stop. Maybe a 1-stop might be something we consider. We're going to get creative with the strategies, and I'm looking forward to this one. So I'm going to get through practice and I'll see you in qualifying for the Singapore Grand Prix.
Qualifying is coming up and the drivers will be ready and raring to go.
Executing the perfect qualifying lap around Singapore comes down to absolute precision. The circuit needs high downforce and a good suspension to maximize grip on the bumpy street surface.
And here's a driver there's been quite a focus on recently, Karun. Valtteri Bottas.
We saw some disappointing lap times from them in practice. It could be that the team were experimenting with the car, but the pressure's now on them to deliver.
Fortunately for us, it's nearly time for them to hit the track.
Big news in Q2. Pierre Gasly knocked out in P15 when Esteban Ocon was in P8. So it's not going to make too much difference in the grand scheme of things. And we're not going to show you the lap from Q3 because there's no need to do really. We're going to not be running in Q3. I'd rather save the set of tyres. So we will get to the results of Q3 and show you the grid for the race on Sunday. And your grid for Sunday is as follows. Probably no surprise. Max Verstappen is on pole position from Checo Perez. Then come Carlos Sainz. 2 Aston Martins getting grid penalties this weekend, Alonso and Stroll. Then comes Hamilton, Russell, Leclerc, and then we've got a few more grid penalties as well to come. So it's going to be a very mixed up grid for the race on Sunday. Let's have a look at the strategies now. Right then, guys, so we are going to split the strategy a little bit. So Esteban Ocon, he's going to start on the soft compound tyre. He's going to be on the 2-stop, starting on the softs, going onto the mediums, then onto the softs again. Soft, soft, hard was an option, but I think soft, medium, soft is what we're going to go with for Esteban. Pierre Gasly has been a little bit of a tyre whisperer this season for us. He's going to start on the medium compound tyre, goal hang a bit for a safety car, and then go on to the hards. That's the idea with Pierre Gasly. So different options, different strategies. Let's see how we do. Let's get to 5 red lights for the Singapore Grand Prix.
The drivers are almost ready here in Singapore as we get ready for 61 laps under the lights. There's a lot of talk about that man, Nico Hulkenberg.
They've done really well to secure a P7 start. Some solid points could be on the cards today.
Here we go. It's time to go racing. We're just moments away from the Singapore Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And away we go, and straight away we can see Max Verstappen on the medium compounder tyre. Perez gets the better start into turn one, and it's Perez who leads from Verstappen. It's a nice mixture of strategies all the way down the board. Fernando Alonso, the only driver on the hard compound tyre, but Perez has got past Verstappen early doors. Meanwhile, Esteban Ocon at the back is looking to attack. I believe that is Nick De Vries in the AlphaTauri, and he's going to be told to be high on the overtake aggression. We want to get past people quickly at this moment in time. Pierre Gasly's got a little bit more about him. He can sit and wait a little bit and let the race come to him. But Esteban Ocon needs to be making moves early doors as we're just getting the tyres up to temperature, being a little bit more aggressive early doors. We took a bit of fuel out of the car as well, expecting a safety car. So a lot of things going on early doors, but Perez leading from Verstappen, Hamilton in P3 there, Sainz P4, Russell in P5 on the mediums, then comes Leclerc, Alonso. Can Fernando Alonso just tick along on the hard compound tyre and keep up with these front guys? Then we've got Nico Hulkenberg in P8 as we saw in the starting intro. Stroll in P9 and Albon in P10. No moves early doors here from our guys, but Ocon will be looking to make moves pretty quickly. Lap 1. And moves are starting to be made. Lap 3, Esteban Ocon getting past Nick De Vries, round the outside of him. And then he's got the McLaren in front of him. I believe that is Oscar Piastri. It is. So Esteban Ocon up into P18 and now on the back of the McLaren on the medium compounder tyre. As you could see in the background there as well, Pierre Gasly, as we ride on board with him, doing his utmost to try and get past Nick De Vries and follow his teammate through. So early doors here, as we have a look round the outside from Pierre Gasly. He's going to be told to be aggressive on the overtake as well. But Gasly ain't at the back still, but Ocon starting to make moves in this race, lap 3. Making moves now, Pierre Gasly has finally managed to get past Oscar Piastri. I don't know why Piastri's struggling so badly in that McLaren this weekend, but Pierre Gasly on the medium compound tyre. These two both on the same strategy, of course. Gasly up past Piastri. Meanwhile, I'm hoping we're going to get another replay because Esteban Ocon has just managed to get past one AlphaTauri of Guan Yu Zhou, and now he's on the back of Valtteri Bottas for P15. So we've got a yellow flag on circuit as well. Let's have a little look at what's happened here. We've got Ocon looking at the back of Bottas. We've got Tsunoda running wide on turn 1. Let's have a little look at this. He's battling with the Williams, who just shoves him off the track, and that has put Tsunoda right back into our clutches, and that'll give Esteban Ocon a little bit of hope because he can now see the AlphaTauri not too far up the road as well. As we see Esteban Ocon, we're going to ride on board with him here, going down this circuit, this straight, but we'll have a little look at Gasly overtaking De Vries down the start-finish straight. Gasly again has the best medium compound tyres on the grid at this moment in time. He is being the tyre whisperer, as he so often is, and I'm hoping he's going to get this move done. I'm guessing he did. Let's have a little look. Yep, Gasly is past De Vries, but Ocon doing his utmost to get past Bottas as quickly as he possibly can. Lap 7, Verstappen and Perez, the two Red Bulls fighting for the lead. The mediums coming into play now for Verstappen, lap 7. And on lap 8, Esteban Ocon finally managed to get past Valtteri Bottas. It were a lunging move down the inside, but he's got the job done, and he can now see Yuki Tsunoda in front of him as well. So Esteban Ocon up into P15, I believe that is. Got Tsunoda, and he's nearly, well, he's actually in DRS as well. We've had a lock-up in turn 1, and that is Lance Stroll fighting with his teammate Fernando Alonso. Fernando not making it easy for Lance, and to be fair, Fernando Alonso really lucky to not get taken out there. So fair play to Fernando, seeing that coming. I imagine he won't be too impressed with that when he gets on the radio to the team. Lap 8. So overtakes galore this afternoon. Now we've got Pierre Gasly getting past Zhou Guan Yu. He's really starting to come into his own now. Pierre Gasly shoving him a little bit wider and getting the move done. They're very lucky not to make contact. We are being aggressive on the move, but we've got to be starting in the position we did. Still no hint of a safety car at this moment in time, but Gasly now up to P17. My word, it's lap by lap. Ocon now getting past Tsunoda. Soft compound tyre once again goes for the inside. gives him just enough space, and he's through again. Esteban Ocon now up into P14 for the Alpines. He's closing in on the top 10 is Esteban Ocon, and Hulkenberg is at the front of this little train. Ocon is well in this fight for points this afternoon. Maybe P9 for Ocon, I believe, could be possible, depending on what happens with the safety cars. Gasly has got a little bit of work now to get up to Valtteri Bottas, but he's closing the gap all the time. Verstappen still leads. We'll have a rundown of the top 10 because it's Verstappen from Perez, the two Red Bulls just running away with this. It's going to be whichever strategy prevails. Sainz in P3. He's 6 seconds back from the two Red Bulls. Hamilton's in a battle with Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. Then comes Russell in P6, Alonso P7, Stroll P8, Albon P9, and Lando Norris making the move up into P10. And we see Pierre Gasly now once again getting up into P16. These soft compounds are dying off a little bit, and now Pierre Gasly is starting to look particularly dangerous in this Alpine, up into P16. He's just following his teammate through, and his teammate has just overtaken Logan Sargent, and he's now up into P13. Then he's got two Haas cars in front of him, and then Lando Norris. So Ocon from the back of the grid is now really in the fight for points today, lap 11. And on lap 11, Pierre Gasly start-finish straight, getting past, that's Yuki Tsunoda, I believe, up into P15. So Pierre Gasly, great work from him. He's loving these medium tyres, is Pierre Gasly. It does bode well for Esteban in the next stint. So Esteban Ocon now in the DRS of Kevin Magnussen as well. Gasly's got 3.4 seconds to close on Logan Sargent, lap 12. Lap 14, Esteban Ocon is on the back of the two Haas cars who are squabbling away and losing a lot of time to Lando Norris, which has prompted a strategy change for Esteban. Because Pierre Gasly is loving these medium compound tyres as much as he is, we are going to switch Esteban into an earlier pit stop, try and get him out in clean air, use the tyres and push and overtake these two Haas cars. That's the idea at this moment in time. But Esteban Ocon, if he could clear one or two of these, would be absolutely delightful. But I do reckon if we get him out into clean air, he can use the engine power, and we've got a chance of a decent undercut here with Esteban Ocon. Gasly obviously stopping out for as long as he possibly can on the mediums, but look at these mediums compared to such as George Russell's and Max Verstappen. 65%. He's got 6% better tyres than the other medium compound runners. He is the tyre whisperer, but we need Esteban to get past these two cars pretty quickly, because these two Haas's running in formation is starting to cost us a lot of time, as Logan Sargent is the first one into the pits. Let's just keep on board with this to see if Esteban can get a move done here. He's looking left and right, but can't quite get a move done as we go to Logan Sargent, who's coming into the pit lane. Let's just see what he comes out on. He comes out onto the medium compounded tyres. Ocon still battling away with these two. Gasly closing up. We're going to be pitting Ocon in a couple of laps time. Lap 17, a lap earlier than we were going to do. Esteban Ocon is in to the pits. He's just been stuck behind these Haas cars. It's not doing us any favours at all. Gasly's going to run into him in a moment, but Ocon is in for a set of medium compounded tyre. Let's hope we get a decent pit stop. It's 2.6. It's not exactly perfect, but now he's going to get out, hopefully, in clean air is the plan. If I can get him out in clean air, which we see, I'm guessing that's Piastri just going past us. Where's Logan Sargent? Logan Sargent just coming round the pits. He has got a little bit of traffic in front of him, Esteban Ocon, but hopefully now he can use these tyres, be aggressive on them, and try and get this undercut done. He's going to be told to deploy and get cracking now, and that Williams, if we get a little bit of DRS as well, it might not be the worst thing in the world. Lap 17. And talk about getting on with it. Just as we flicked off the live view, Esteban Ocon had made an audacious move round the outside into turn 4, and then got the job done round the outside here. Got his foot down on these tyres. We are being a little bit aggressive to get him up to temperature, but now Esteban Ocon, he's been told to use DRS. This is a big moment in Esteban's race. He's got to push now to try and undercut the two Haas cars, and I reckon these medium compound tyres, we've seen Pierre Gasly making them last beautifully, are going to work better for us. Lando Norris is into the pits. It's going to be very, very interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Esteban Ocon as well, as he's into the pits. We're going to stay on board till we see the completion of Lando Norris's pit stop, but Oscar Piastri is holding us up a little bit here for his teammate, which is working well for him. We see Norris in, Bottas is in. As we're starting to come round, it looks like Norris might have just had a little bit of an issue there. As Ocon comes round the start-finish straight, he's got DRS, he's moved to the inside. Lando Norris is trundling down the pit lane, and Esteban Ocon, he's already passed. He's jumped Lando Norris, and remember, Lando Norris was in front of the Haas drivers, so great work from Esteban Ocon. He can now toll to go standard on the tyres again, and that has been a decent little undercut for Esteban Ocon. Gasly up into P11, cars yet to pit. We've got a Haas into the pit lane, and that Haas is Kevin Magnussen. George Russell's pitted onto hards. We're going to come on to that in a little moment. He's onto mediums, is Kevin Magnussen. It's a decent pit stop, but my God, Esteban Ocon is already past him, and he's currently fighting with Nick De Vries, interestingly. Zhou Guanyu, I don't even know if Zhou Guanyu is yet to pit as well. So Esteban Ocon now has made his way up to these bike markers that he was fighting, and he's doing a fantastic job at this moment in time. Pierre Gasly now up into P9. He's got this Haas behind him, but as we've just said, George Russell's just gone onto the hard compounder tyre. I would be interested to see on the tyre history. George Russell went from mediums, he's gone on to hards very, very early. Is he doing a two-stop and going on to softs at the end? And what is happening with Red Bull here? Verstappen's into the pits and Perez in behind. A double stack for Red Bull? Very, very interesting indeed for Red Bull, choosing to double stack their drivers on lap 21. Gasly is still fighting with Nico Hülkenberg. He needs to get past as quick as he possibly can now because we are losing time, and George Russell is on his backs as well. We're really slowing down here. I don't know whether he's doing this on purpose, Nico Hülkenberg, but it's not working for us, and he's now going to be told to deploy, use this ERS. We're going to ride on board live with him as he tries to get past the Haas, once again using all the ERS, because we are wary that we've got George Russell in a Mercedes behind us as well. It's been a very difficult roadblock to negotiate as this Haas of Nico Hülkenberg, and we still on lap 21 are trying to get past it as he's trying to use the ERS now down the inside. Can't quite make that move. The tyres of Hülkenberg are 8% less, but this is the moment because Pierre Gasly's got the DRS and he's finally past the Haas of Nico Hülkenberg, and he's also now put a car between himself and George Russell. Lap 21, still a few yet to pit, but Esteban Ocon trundling along nicely in P13. And on lap 29, Pierre Gasly is in to the pits for his pit stop. He's done a stonking job on those tyres. We can see now Esteban Ocon flying past. He's now up into P9, but Pierre Gasly, I'm expecting it to come out probably somewhere maybe between Hülkenberg and Bottas. Let's have a little look if we have no issues here, which we don't. It's a 2.5 second stop. It's decent. Where is Nico Hülkenberg? Hülkenberg's coming around the start-finish straight, so he's not going to be in front of Hülkenberg, but Bottas we should be in front of. I would imagine we're going to be in front of Bottas. We certainly are. Pierre Gasly out into P15, and all these pit stops have been completed. We're going to attack the tyres, get them up to temperature, and also deploy, because I'd like to catch Nico Hülkenberg as quickly as we possibly can, who's on 15% worse tyres than the Gasman. Lap 30. All pit stops completed for Gasly. Ocon has still got another pit stop to go. Verstappen is still leading from Checo Perez, but Perez is on the softs, Verstappen's on the hards. The two Red Bulls are on totally different strategies today, and it's going to be very interesting to see which one comes out on top. Carlos Sainz in P3, Leclerc P4, Hamilton in P5 on the hard compound tyres as well. Alonso on the softs in P6, Russell P7. I believe Russell's got to stop again. Stroll P8, Ocon P9, and Alexander Albon in P10. We have got a red flag on circuit, and Pierre Gasly's going to be frustrated about that. We're going to get the incident now. It is Charles Leclerc. Let's have a little look at this. Charles Leclerc spins out, absolutely wallops the barriers. Pretty much sums it up from Charles Leclerc. That's going to cause a red flag. We've now got strategy decisions. I mean, the Ferrari guys are literally in the dark, trying to save on the electrics, I'm guessing. But yeah, we've got a restart on the red flag. We're going to have a look at the strategies and we'll come back when we restart. So guys, we're back again. Medium tyres for both cars. The mediums can go to the end. Pierre Gasly's shown that already. We've got a couple of cars on hard compound tyres. There's a mixture. George Russell's on the softs. George Russell is making some very, very interesting strategy calls here this afternoon. Now we've got to push on the fuel. That's an absolute given. We weren't concerned about fuel. We're certainly not concerned now as Esteban Ocon straight into the fight with Alexander Albon. Gasly up against Hülkenberg early doors as well. So both cars now in the battle for points. Ocon has got Albon, which is fantastic. We don't need to see the replay of that. But Ocon into P8 and looking racy early doors is Esteban Ocon. Also, Pierre Gasly looking at the back of Lando Norris and Magnussen. He could do with getting past these really quickly, because if Pierre Gasly can get past these, we should be absolutely laughing. We may get a double points finish here, but Lando Norris, I think he's going to be the one who struggles. But Gasly's going to be quicker on these medium compound tyres, surely, as is Esteban Ocon. I mean, looking at it previously, look at what Gasly did on the mediums previously. He got to lap 30. We're absolutely laughing. We really are. We're going to get some points today, barring a real calamity from our guys. But Verstappen is leading, and it's been equalised at the front. Verstappen and Perez pulling away from Carlos Sainz. It's an inter-team battle at Red Bull for the win here in Singapore. This is going to be an exciting end to this Grand Prix. There is a real ding-dong battle going on now between Esteban Ocon and Lance Stroll, as you can see, going side by side through the streets of the Marina Bay circuit. But Esteban Ocon just about managing to get up to P7 for a moment, but as we join it back live, they're still side by side and going at it. We've basically used Lance Stroll's pace. We haven't got the pace of the Aston Martins. We know that. But what we did was deploy the ERS, give it absolutely everything to stick with Lance Stroll. And that has allowed us to pull out a gap to Alexander Albon. But we're still fighting away here. And speaking of fighting away, as Esteban finally gets the job done, Pierre Gasly can't seem to make an impression on these Haas cars at this moment in time. This Haas of Kevin Magnussen, we need to get past him quickly, and at this moment in time we seem to be struggling to do so. We're not driving in clean air or anything like that. We're just looking for opportunities to get past that Haas of Kevin Magnussen, and then once we've done that, Lando Norris is the man up next. But lap 45, Perez is now leading from Verstappen. Ocon in P7. Could we beat an Aston Martin today? Who knows? Yeah, Gasly, baby, has just managed to finally get past Kevin Magnussen using the ERS. He's passed the Haas, and now he's just got to get past this McLaren, and that will be for a point for Pierre Gasly. So it's looking good for Pierre Gasly. Meanwhile, Esteban Ocon, this isn't working as well because Lance Stroll is holding on to the back of Ocon. We were better when we were in the DRS of Lance Stroll. It was working better for us because it was pulling us away from Alexander Albon. But with what we got to go, maybe 15 laps to go, this could be a long old stint towards the end on these medium compounded tyres. But we had to take that risk. But we're doing okay at the moment. Pierre Gasly, like I say, in P11 now. He's used a bit of his battery to get to that position, but he's just got to stick this out at this moment in time. But Ocon could probably do with swapping positions with Lance Stroll. With 15 laps to go. We've got a yellow flag on circuit. Lando Norris has got a 5-second time penalty. And Pierre Gasly looks like he's got minor front wing damage. Where is Pierre Gasly? He's just coming around the final corner, so we've got he's just coming around the first corner, so we've got a bit of an option to have a look at this. But Pierre Gasly, he looks like he's got the inside line, and Lando Norris just clips him and smashes into him. Very, very disappointing for Pierre Gasly. He's going to be fuming at that. And Pierre Gasly, when we were looking like we were going to get a point, I don't really need to keep him out with a damaged front wing. He's going to have to come in for a pit stop. And we'll put him onto soft compound tyres. Change of plan. We are going to keep Pierre Gasly out on circuit for one reason and one reason only. I've been watching the gap to Magnussen all this lap, and it's not coming down by a significant amount. And I think Pierre Gasly can manage this. We've actually pulled out time on Kevin Magnussen through this lap, so I reckon Pierre Gasly can manage this and get to the end and possibly score a point. If he can, it will be a champion drive from Pierre Gasly, but we are not pitting Pierre. Meanwhile, Esteban Ocon still fighting with Stroll But Lance Stroll is not managing to get past at the moment. Alexander Albon gap is still 1 point, nearly 2 seconds. But the gap we're watching now is Hülkenberg to Gasly. And if Gasly can hold on to this, my word, that would be some achievement. Lap 51. But on lap 53, the Haasers have got their act together. Whether this wing damage is causing us a few more problems now, but the Haas of Nico Hülkenberg especially is right on the back of us. And it's looking very, very difficult. And as we can see, the tyre wear as well, we're struggling with that due to this wing. If I pitted Pierre Gasly now, he's going to come out in P19. I think we can possibly limit the damage and get to what? Maybe P14, P15. So we'll keep a monitor on it. If he's struggling too much and the tyre wear's too bad, then we may pit him. But I'm hoping it's going to be the defensive drive of defensive drives to hold up Nico Hülkenberg. That's the plan anyway. Meanwhile, talking of holding up, Esteban Ocon, he's still fighting with Lance Stroll, but it's allowing Alexander Albon back into this fight in P9. He's now nearly back in the DRS of these two cars, and Ocon is the only one on the medium compounder tyre with 10 laps to go. Gasly, if he can defend this, my word, he deserves a medal. Lap 53. Lap 55, Lance Stroll managing to get past Esteban Ocon. And we have made the call. We've just been on the radio to Esteban saying, look, all right, we've lost the position, but let's just sit behind the Aston Martin for a little bit. Use the pace that Aston Martin's got and hopefully stay in the DRS of Lance Stroll. That would be ideal. And we can look now. The gap is 2 seconds. Gasly is still somehow fighting Nico Hülkenberg with a broken front wing. And what a job this man is doing here around Singapore. He's got 7 more laps to negotiate, 8 more laps, sorry, to negotiate. And if he can hold on to a point here, driver of the day goes to Pierre Gasly. And Esteban Ocon, like I say, just holding on to the back of the Aston Martin is the clever strategy here. That's what he's got to do, and he seems to be doing it okay at this moment in time. Like 55, Verstappen is now leading from Perez, but Fernando Alonso fighting with Sainz for P3. For P4 is, well, Carlos Sainz, Hamilton P5, Russell P6, Stroll P7, Ocon 8th, Albon 9th, and Pierre Gasly in P10, but not by much. Lap 55. It looks like the resistance has finally been broken, and Pierre Gasly is out. He's not out. Pierre Gasly has collided with Kevin Magnussen. Magnussen caused that. And I think Pierre Gasly is getting a little bit sick of things happening to him this afternoon. Let's have a little look at this. Pierre Gasly looking like he's keeping his line. It was a good battle all the way. Not given too much room. Whether the Haas has gone into him, I'm not too sure. But Pierre Gasly is carried on. Magnussen is out. And Pierre Gasly now has major front wing damage. That is his afternoon probably done. And to be fair, I don't actually think, if we have a little look at it, he's going to come out possibly around P16. Go on, I think he deserves to finish this race. We'll stick a fresh set of soft compound tyres on for him. We may even go for the fastest lap with Pierre, to be fair now. That might be something we look at trying to do. Esteban Ocon still fighting with Lance Stroll in P8 at this moment in time. Okay. This is setting up for a final push on the Aston Martin. That's what we're aiming for. Lap 60. Still lots of time for Ocon to get this job done. But Pierre Gasly is in for a very, very disappointing pit stop when he's worked so hard today and has been taken out twice. Both times, Magnussen and Norris have been given the time penalties for causing the collision. Lap 60. Disappointment for Pierre. We are coming on to the last lap of the Grand Prix, and you may notice that Esteban Ocon is up into P7 because he's overtaken George Russell. Fantastic work from Esteban Ocon. I'm hoping we're going to get a replay of that. Pierre Gasly has got the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. So fair play to Pierre, managing to get that. That's beautiful work. But Esteban Ocon now, it's all about if he can catch. If he can catch Lance Stroll, which I don't think he's going to be able to do. But we're not going to get a replay of the George Russell. It all happened at once. But George Russell, what's gone wrong with him? His tyres are dead. He's gone onto the soft compounder tyres. It was a crazy decision from Mercedes anyway. But Esteban Ocon into P7 isn't going to get the chance to attack Lance Stroll. But from the back of the grid, Esteban Ocon has managed to get a P7 this afternoon. Pierre Gasly, the strategy nearly worked. The strategy nearly worked. He got caught up with Lando Norris, then got hit by Magnussen. It's been a difficult day for Pierre Gasly. At least he'll come away with the fastest lap. He will be happy with that in the end. It's something to take away from this Grand Prix. But as we look at the front, Max Verstappen wins in Singapore from Checo Perez. It's then 14 seconds back to Carlos Sainz. Fernando Alonso is going to come across the line in P4. Then comes Hamilton in P5. Stroll will get P6 today. It's been a decent drive for the Aston Martins once again. But Esteban Ocon is going to beat a Mercedes, and the Mercedes of George Russell is beaten by the Alpine of Esteban Ocon. That is a decent return. Is that... I've just seen a car with loads of sparks coming off it. I'm not quite sure who that is. Is that George Russell? No. Not too sure who that was. Oscar Piastri. Looks like he's got a puncture. But Pierre Gasly will cross the line and will get P18. Let's get to the podium scenes, because it's another good day for Red Bull.
Now that was a good race result for Esteban Ocon today.
That's a solid points finish, and all in all, a good drive for them today.
Well, Max Verstappen can add yet another podium to his already impressive record.
There really doesn't seem to be a way to stop them winning this year. Amazing consistency.
Amazing consistency indeed, and Max Verstappen winning once again. Absolutely unstoppable, just as in real life. The talent is undeniable. Max Verstappen wins from Checo Perez, Sainz P3, Alonso P4, Hamilton P5. We saw most of this. Ocon P7, Russell P8, and Nico Hülkenberg gets a point for Haas, another point for Williams. And as we saw, we had one retirement, which was Charles Leclerc, which caused the red flag, and Norris and Magnussen causing collisions as well. Pierre Gasly getting the fastest lap, a 1:31.6. Driver standings wise, Max Verstappen extends his lead at the top. Checo Perez is his closest competitor. It's now nigh on 100 points, 98 points if you want to be exact, from Max Verstappen to Checo. Leclerc drops a position to P3. Esteban Ocon picks up 6 points, which is very valuable in the constructors, because that moves us up to 59 points and extends our gap over Williams. We are working out to improve the car. We are going to be looking at next year's car a little bit more as well now. Obviously, we've got us long-term driver in Sophia joining us as well. She's not going to be in the car next year, possibly not the year after that, but then who knows. But I hope you've enjoyed that one. That were an interesting race. Back to midfield. I'll see you on the next one. Ta-ra!